there's a battle. It's an ancient battle. Some people would frame it as a battle between good and evil, or light and dark, originally perceived as good and evil. Ultimately, light and dark are simply energies until we give them the significance that we give to them. But there isn't an ancient battle playing out. It's not an obsolete battle. It's playing out before our very eyes today. And it sets the context for every event that is unfolding in our world. And so this is a perfect place to begin. We all know there's a battle for our thoughts. That's obvious. If you watch any network news, we've got commentators trying to tell us what to think and how to perceive the events in our lives. Most people know that. There's a battle for our beliefs. It's been playing out for a while in mainstream classrooms, mainstream textbooks. For example, how did the universe begin? Is it a conscious and intelligent beginning, or is it an inert, dead, random process that we're living in? How did we begin? And we'll talk about this. Are we the product of random mutations and lucky biology, as we're led to believe? Is there something else going on there? Those things are important, but they're all part of an even deeper battle. There is a battle for our very humanness that is unfolding right now. And that the humanness is the vehicle that allows an even deeper experience, Andre. And that experience, for any of our viewers that may wonder how relevant this conversation really is, there's something deep within each of us that is so powerful, so precious, so sacred, so beautiful, that nations will go to war with other nations to keep us distracted so that we don't know what this power is all about. Armies will defeat armies. Pandemics will be unleashed. We will see the collapse of societies. We will see the collapse of financial systems, all in an effort to keep us distracted from the sacredness of this power within us. So I'm going to use a word and then we'll define it. It is the power of human divinity that is only possible through the biological body. And this is one of the reasons there's such a move to replace our biology with synthetics and artificial intelligence. So the word is divinity. It is divine, our divine nature. Now, when I use that word in public audiences, many people assume it has something to do with religion, and I can see why, because there are schools for divinity where religion is taught. But if you look at the definition of divinity, it's a deceptively simple definition, and it simply says that divinity is the power within us to transcend perceived limitations. And that's it. So I can see where religion would be wrapped around that concept, the idea to transcend perceived limitations. So I'm going to break this down just a little bit. The idea of transcendence, it means not just to survive, but to become greater than, to become more than whatever it is that life brings to our doorstep, the challenge that life brings to our doorstep. So our ability to transcend perceived limitations, they may not even be real. They are the limitations that we have placed upon ourselves through our culture and our society, through our textbooks, through false science, through our culture, our religion, but they may not even be real. So our divinity is the ability to become more than the worst challenges that life brings to our doorstep. The reason it is such a powerful force within us is because through our divinity, among the things we transcend is fear. Divinity is what empowers us to transcend our own fears. If we, as individuals and as a society, are not kept in fear, we are very, very difficult to control. Because without the fear, we have the freedom to love, create, innovate, express. These are all features of divinity. I just want to give some examples of what divinity is all about, because for some people it's this esoteric concept. Everyday divinity, we express it every day in our lives. I had the opportunity, 2016, I went to the Grammy Music Awards, and They held them in New York that year. My wife is a voting member in the Grammys, and she invited me, and I said yes.
It's very kind of her.
It was very kind, and I took advantage of the opportunity, and I met amazing people there. And every opportunity I had, I would ask the musicians and the producers. I would say, when you wrote this amazing piece of music, or when the words for this song came through, can you tell me where did they come from? And every one of them, Andre, everyone to the T gave me the same answer. Everyone said, it did not come from me. It came through me, from somewhere else. Every one of them said they had to find a way to get out of the way, to allow this deep inspiration to come through them. That is a familiar facet of divinity. Artists say the same thing. If you talk to an artist, who's done an amazing, or a sculptor, or a poet, they say the same thing. As a writer, I have had this experience where I don't know what I'm going to write, and I sit down and give myself the opportunity of either a blank piece of paper, or now it's a blank computer screen, and become very empty so that I can become very full of whatever it is that's going to come through. These are expressions of divinity. Divinity is a part of us. Our divinity is the part of us that's ancient, it's timeless, it's ageless. It is where our creativity, our intuition, our imagination comes from. And it's what sets us apart from every other form of life. And as we get in deeper into the biology of how it works, we can only access our divinity through our bodies, through the DNA antenna of our bodies and the cellular structure of our bodies. There is a movement to replace our bodies, the transhuman movement, to replace our bodies with synthetics, with chemicals in the blood, sensors under the skin, computer chips in the brain, artificial intelligence. And by virtue of doing so, it steals from us our ability to access this part of us, our divinity. The interesting thing to me, when you use the term battle, it's probably no longer even a good word, because in battle, it implies conflict. I believe that we now are at a point in our lives and our consciousness where we have the ability and the awareness to transcend. This is our divinity. If you don't engage in the battle, if you transcend the battle, then that is how not win, but triumph. When we talk about winning and losing, we're stuck in that old paradigm. We don't want to win or lose. We want to triumph, to become more than. And the way that we do this is so interesting to me, is by living the best version of our lives, living the best version of ourselves, fully expressing, perhaps for the first time in human history, what it actually means to be human. And Andre, what the science is telling us is we don't even know what it means to be fully human, because we've never expressed the depth and the breadth of our complete humanness. So as we move through this time in history, there are some that allow themselves to become engaged in the distractions and the diversions, and others who are recognizing it's not that we discount what's happening, and not that we say it's not important. It's all important. But there is a science, there is a skill, and there is an art to rising above, living, becoming the best version of ourselves, and in that way, doing just what the definition of divinity says, transcend our perceived limitations. Rather than having conversations in kindness to become closer as brothers and sisters in the global family, the differences that we used to celebrate as our strength have now become the differences that are being used, being weaponized to divide us and keep us in our fear. And it is divinity that allows us to transcend that fear. So when you think about this, all of a sudden it becomes really clear why a dark power would want to keep us in that fear, because we become powerless victims in that fear. And as victims, we need a savior. And technology is now being touted as our savior. We're being told that we are flawed as humans, by virtue of our existence. Emotion is one of our flaws. The inability to make clear, logical decisions without having emotion. Empathy is considered to be a flaw by transhumanists. Sickness, illness, death is considered to be a flaw by transhumanists. And we are programming our young people to believe that they are broken and flawed from the time of birth and that they are victims of something beyond their control. And if you're a victim, you need a savior. And the savior, we're being told, is technology, computer chips in the brain, artificial intelligence, sensors under the skin, AI that knows us better than we know ourselves. And when you begin to understand the big picture, and I'm covering a lot of ground here intentionally because we'll tie into this. When you begin to understand the big picture, all of a sudden, the power of human divinity becomes something more than a casual academic peripheral conversation. It's front and center for everything that's happening in our lives today. And the beauty is you don't have to know that, but you can simply live the best version of yourself and transcend the efforts to keep us small and separate and insignificant.